Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines. Help all the people who have been quarantined. We'll wear our masks and we'll have to stay distant. We'll wash our hands and we'll be more resistant. Fauci, yes, promise us please. We'll have a cure that can fight off this disease. Restrictions will lift with some ease. Dr. Fauci, don't forget me.
That was amazing.
Hey,
y'all.
I'm John.
And I'm Tegan.
And welcome to
Awesometown. Population
2. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to episode 5. Damn, we're kind of cranking them out pretty fast on episode 5 already.
Yeah, it is 5.
We hope you enjoyed the mukbang. Here we are in southern, sunny, beautiful California. We're back at our typical location.
Yes.
And we're chilling and we're recording and welcome in. Yes. How are you guys? How was your week? Hopefully good. How are you doing, baby? What's up?
I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah, there are things going on.
There are.
Not like between us. Like we're
No.
chilling, but like just life things. Life has been tough. Oh, I got to fucking hide my feet. Y'all ain't getting that shit for free. What do you think
Wiki feet.
Yeah. When was the first time you became like aware of Wiki feet? Can I ask? Like, do you remember?
I've never visited the website.
Yeah.
But like,
it's a trip.
I think it's been like a joke on YouTube for like a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
different
creators' feet ending up on there.
Exactly, and like so whenever any of my creators like that I've watched have brought it up would be like when I became aware, which is probably a long time ago. It's probably like middle school or high school.
I was gonna say I think I was first aware of Wiki feet in like 2014, which is insane because I before I was even aware at how widespread a foot fetishes were, I knew about Wiki feet.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like I remember when I first heard about it, I was like, "Oh, that's like fucking hilarious!" Like, who would be attracted to feet? Little did we know, it's actually the most common fetish in the world. If you didn't know, and baby, this is something because sometimes I call it a foot kink, and you correct me because
sometimes you call it a foot fetish, and I correct you, and I'm like, no,
it's a foot kink.
That person has a foot kink.
So explain to the beautiful people what the difference is.
Granted, I might be incorrect on this because I believe that I learned this on TikTok.
Yeah.
But I believe it was from like a licensed like sex therapist or something. So if someone's watching this and knows more about this than me and is like, that's just wrong, correct me in the comments.
Feel free to educate
us. But what I have heard is that a fetish is something that you need in order to
get there
to complete, but a kink is something that you like sexually enjoy.
Hey, sex guys, huh?
So like, yeah. So I think a lot of people have foot kinks. I think like fetish is like overused.
But fetish, for some reason, that like hits harder.
Well,
you know what I mean? Also, I just thought of something. Hold on, sorry.
It's like what is it called when something has like the same first letters?
Set a timer for 27 minutes. Let's be safe. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, I think there are people fighting out there. Do you hear this? I know that the audience can't, but do you hear? I think the roomies are arguing right now.
No, I don't think so.
Are they just talking?
I think they're just talking.
I actually think that's like...
Because when I was coming back in, Ethan was talking to Crystal, and she was like
messing around, kind of.
Yeah. And she was like, okay, let me get dressed. Because she was just like talking through her door.
Oh, gotcha.
And he was like, okay. So
I think
it's fine.
I think I've actually honestly got like an anxious response with that because when I was a kid and I'd be like driving places with my mom, it was usually my mom and stepdad. Sometimes because God bless them, they're mellowing out now that they're getting older, but when they were younger, they were pretty conflict-driven people. I don't think that's unfair to say. And so I would always just have my headphones in because I just didn't even want to, it's like a long car ride. So I would always get freaked out because I would look at them and like I had to figure out in my head if their body movements were super aggressive because they were fighting or because they were just gesturing because they're big gesturers as well.
Yeah.
So
No, they're literally laughing out there.
yeah, so I think that's just a thing I have. I don't know why. Like whenever I hear like loud
No,
noises,
I
I have to go
totally-
quiet. And I'm like, is that a fight?
No, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Children of brutal divorces.
Oh yeah, don't even get me started. You know, I was thinking about this. I don't know why. This is like not a very cogent like transition or anything, but I was thinking about this story. I used to have this like, I don't know if I'd call it like post-traumatic whatever, but I used to have this really, really hyper anxious response to this one memory where I was 7 years old. And I was playing my DS in my mom's car. She drove me somewhere. So I was struggling with one of the castles because it was like a Mario game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my mom let me have on the volume, which was like a rare thing because she's like, looking back, I think it's honestly like a sensory thing, and she doesn't like loud noises while she's trying to focus and drive. I guess who does? But anyway, she, for this like one and only time, let me have the volume on, and I was playing, and I kept dying. And I went to an earlier castle and beat that one, which she heard. And so she hears Mario go, it's a Mario time. And she was like, good job. And I was like, I didn't beat it. And she was like, but Mario said so nice. And I was like, it was a different one. And like, it's the most like just nonchalant, like you're 7 years old being an asshole thing,
Yeah.
right? But baby, I swear for years after this, I was like, I felt so fucking bad about that. Like I would call my mom for like literally like for years until I was like 16, 17 is when this finally like stopped. But I'd call her and I'd be like, Mom, I'm sorry about that time when I was 7 years old and I yelled at you for Mario. And like I really fucking felt guilty. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's because like things were tough. So, you know, things were nice in that one moment and like I ruined it. And I felt like I honestly don't know. And I don't know why I brought this up. It's something I've been thinking
I
about.
know. No, I get that way too. Well, you know, because like whenever I'm like in a bad mood, I always feel like I'm mean to you.
Yeah, you're fine.
But you don't think I am.
No,
So I always
you're fine.
apologize.
Yeah. I mean, it's the eye of the beholder type shit.
Yeah,
you know,
I
I feel like everyone's their own worst critic and what have you.
No, I was literally laughing with like my coworker yesterday because it's that time of the month. Well, I think I'm technically over it now. But I was just anyways, it was a rough couple days at work, okay? And I was like, dude, I'm in such a bad mood. And she was like, wait. No, I was like, I'm having a bad time. She was like, oh, are you like in a bad mood or something? Because I like told her I was on my period, and I was like, nah. And I was like explaining what was going on, and I was like, dude, like POV, I just like become a bitch. And she literally like laughed. She's like, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, you're so nice. And
That's
I was
what
like,
I'm saying.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. You're not a bitch
Imagine
at all.
me just being a bitch. Like,
And I
that'd be
don't-
so funny.
I don't think it has to do with the fact that like I love you, because obviously that's like a given. But
Yeah.
like
No,
well,
I think I'm just hyper aware of it
Yeah.
because like I used to be kind of bitchy in like middle school, which like isn't everyone.
But yeah, I was gonna say you can't hold that shit against yourself.
I know, but I
Yeah.
just like I wasn't aware of it in middle
Yeah.
school, and like I became aware of it and like I fixed it, so I am always just trying to be aware of it.
You know, another factor at play here is people have been very mean to me.
Yeah, and so I want to
So-
be careful that I'm not being
No,
mean to you
I
because
know,
I
baby,
love
but
you.
that's what I'm saying is that like what I think you consider mean is like small fucking fry. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
Like I've had some people say truly heinous shit to me. Like dealing with it months later type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I don't know. No, you're not mean to me, baby. You know, and
Yeah.
it's not even that compared. You're like the sweetest. You're literally like the nicest person to me, like in my whole
Yeah.
life.
No, I know, but I'm just like
Yeah.
saying, like, I don't know, we're both kind of similar in that way.
Yeah, definitely,
But-
definitely. I'm good at kicking myself in the ass. Like if something's gone wrong, you know,
Mhm.
I'm good at holding. How couldn't you have known? Why did you act that way? When it's like that's just human nature.
Yeah.
You know, I like honestly something that when I'm feeling better, something that brings me comfort is like the fact that like looking back at yourself from a few years ago and cringing, like that's the hope, isn't it?
Oh, for sure, because
know
that
what I
means you've
mean?
grown.
Right, exactly. Like I don't want to look at myself from like 10 years from now. I don't want to look at the person I am now and be like, I had that shit figured out. Like I would hope that I look at myself now and I'm like, I was such a fucking idiot. Like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
What was I even? Anyway, you know, we're.
But it's also important to appreciate your past self.
Yeah, that's difficult for me.
No,
really,
I mean me
really
too.
tough.
Me too. But it's. I don't know. I think I'm very gracious towards young people more so than a lot of other people are because I kind of like see myself in them in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Like, like I used to work with a lot of like 16-year-olds. Less of them now, but a lot of people would just be like really hard on them, and I'm like, I mean, when I was 16, I didn't know what I was fucking doing. I was kind of mature for a 16-year-old,
when I was 16, dude, I was not. I was a joke.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, me too.
But maybe I wasn't.
For a 16-year-old, like, you were probably fine. No one knows what they're doing when they're 16. You're 16.
So why is it so hard?
You've only been on this earth for 16 years. That's like nothing.
But like, why is it so hard for me to like accept that? Like, why is it so hard? It's hard for a lot of.
That's human nature.
Yeah.
Because it's like cringe in a way, but you need to just like accept it and be like, well, I've grown and like I now appreciate that person I once was because like they went through like the stuff that made me who I am today. You know what I mean? Like they're still like I kind of like to separate myself from my past self. I don't know, that's just like how I don't know, because I'm such a like different person now.
Yeah, same,
that,
but
like it doesn't even feel
at the same
like the same person.
Yeah, at the same time for me it's like I don't know, it's hard to because growth is so important to me and like becoming a better version of myself. Like it's really hard for me to be like, oh, like fuck it, like it's fine because I'm different now, because it's like, well, but like I did make those decisions when I did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I just try to not make such a big deal out of it. I also, because of trauma, sure. I don't really remember anything before like a year ago ever.
Yeah, that's
I have a very bad memory, and I think it's because of that, or maybe it's because I just have really like short term memory because ADHD. I don't really know. And you know my mom. My mom has really bad memory problems, always has. So, like, I don't know if it's just that or, like, yeah. But I also don't really remember anything from high school. So, or middle school or, like, before then. So.
I have a polarizing memory. I remember, like, every fucking second. I remember, well, not every second, but I remember a lot.
I have a very, like post-traumatic response where, like, very traumatic things I will remember in great detail, but like everything else I don't.
Yeah, my brain's funny because like I you know, the traumatic stories and moments are like, you know, they're top of the fucking food chain, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I also have like the memory of like the time I was in 7th grade and like my math teacher like saw I had gum, and so she was like, you get detention because you have gum. And I was like, oh, fucking okay. And then, like, I tried to sneak out the classroom at the end of the period, and then a bunch of kids fucking snitched on me.
Oh, my God.
Like, there's no reason to hold on to that one. You know what I mean? But, like, I'm telling you, I remember that and as crystal.
But it's also, like, it's because it's a negative memory, though. And, like.
Not even, though. I was like, I didn't give a shit. Like, because I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it wasn't even, like, a super bad thing. It was just, like, me as a 12-year-old being like, oh, God damn it.
But I was such a goody two-shoes. I still am. I've always been. So that would have, like, if I, like, slightly got in trouble. Yeah. I've never, like, gotten detention or, like, lost a recess or anything. I remember in 5th grade one time. So we had a card system, which means we had, like, a big chart, and you had, like, a yellow card. So if you got your card flipped like once, you had like a yellow card. Did you guys have this?
I didn't have this, but I know it, the color system.
Okay. And then like if you got it flipped again, you had like a red card and you would lose like one recess, whatever.
Right.
And one time I got my card flipped, and I still remember that.
Yeah.
Actually no, it happened twice. It happened once in 4th grade. And it was never my fault. It was like the person I was sitting next to would be talking to me, and then I would get in trouble. See, it happened once in 4th grade and once in 5th grade. And that's probably the only things I remember from those years, because I got my card flipped once. And I didn't even lose a recess, okay? Because it was just a warning. It was my warning card. And because I was like teacher's pet. My
That's
teachers
crazy,
loved me. My
baby.
teachers would come to my dance recitals, like after the school year was over. Like my teachers loved me.
We were so different in that regard.
And,
I
like,
didn't give a fuck. I
gave the most.
Well, like
fucks.
about the people. I mean, well, like I craved my peers' approval. But I remember even when I was a kid, I remember thinking teachers like weren't shit. You know
See,
what I mean?
I am the opposite. Maybe it's because I'm very close to my mother, and my mother's a teacher.
Well, what do you mean? So am I.
Okay. Your mom's not even a teacher, so shut up.
That's not never mind.
No,
It's
I
fine.
know what you were saying.
It's fine.
I know what you were saying.
It's fine.
Whatever.
It's fine. Just.
But I'm very close to my mom, and my mom's a teacher. And I also, like, even when I was a kid, I didn't really like other kids my age that much, but I liked hanging out with adults.
Really?
Yes.
I
don't know what that
hated
was.
adults.
I
All the adults in my
can't
life
even
were
like
super
I don't
mean
even
to
want to
me.
be like, oh, I was mature for my age. I wasn't in elementary school. Like I was obviously in elementary school, and I did have friends, okay? So I did obviously like some people my age. But
Well, I've talked to other people that have had a similar experience with what you're describing.
I don't know.
But that just was never.
I fucking hate hanging out with my parents' friends now.
You know what
and
it was?
I did in high school,
You
so
know what
I don't
it
know.
was? I didn't have a lot of friends growing up, and so I think it's that sort of, you know, when you can't have something, it's
I
that
see.
much more
That makes
alluring.
sense.
Like I remember like crying as like an 8-year-old, 9-year-old because like no one wanted. Like I didn't like I would talk to people at school. But then, like, I wouldn't hang out with people out of school. That was, like, a rare thing for me. Like, I remember there was this one time that, like, this kid and I, like, on impulse decided to, like, do a sleepover. And, like, it almost didn't work out because he wasn't answering my phone calls. And I remember I was, like, spamming him with calls. I'm like, 7 years old at this point. But I'm, like, spamming him with calls. And I'm, like, sobbing. And he picks up the phone. I'm like Thomas, because that was his name. And we ended up. I remember it was like the most normal to this kid, right? Casual sleepover of all time, right? We're just like watching TV, playing video games, whatever. It was a pretty fun time. But I remember I was so deprived of attention and like approval from the people around me that it was like the best fucking day of my life. Like I thought about that for months after. Months. And then I remember the next day was Halloween and I was like, oh, you want to come like trick-or-treating with us? And he was like, yeah, maybe. And I couldn't get through to him, the same thing as the night before. Like he just wasn't picking up my phone. And I remember I started sobbing again. And not to get like down or anything, but that just very much is like, yeah, I think maybe that's why I was so desperate for people to.
That was kind of my experience in high school. Like,
Same.
I definitely had.
Same.
I had a lot of friends, for sure. Like, I had a lot of close friends, but most of them were not in my friend group.
Right.
And I was, like, kind of the outsider in my friend group, so I never got, like, invited to anything. And I always got hyped, like, when I did.
Same. Yeah, it was a rarity. I don't think even the people I was hanging out with realized how little social interaction I was getting.
No, same.
I don't think they truly realized. Because I also wasn't allowed to drive through all of high school.
Yeah.
So, like, I had to get rides everywhere. And I remember this one time my mom, like, she dropped me off somewhere at my request. And I had a great time. Someone I'm still homies with to this day, actually. And she picked me up a few hours later. And I was talking to her, and I was like, oh my God, like I had such a good time and blah, blah, blah. We played VR and, you know, we just hung out and it was just so good and I was feeling like a person. I remember she was like kind of like nodding like, yeah. And I was like, well, what's going on? You know, it seems like there's a little bit of something here. And she was like, well, I'll be honest, John, you know, it's just really annoying that you're 16 years old and here I am still picking you up from places. And I was like, bruh, like, you're the reason I can't get my license. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's like, you created that.
See, my dad would get mad at me for that when I got my permit when I was exactly 15 and a half and I got my license when I was 16.
Right.
He would get mad at me when I was like 14 and 15 and he had to drive me places.
Stupid.
I was like,
doesn't make any fucking sense.
I literally cannot get my license and also you're unemployed. So what the fuck are you doing? And you don't cook or clean.
Come on, bro. You can find the time. You can find the time.
Literally, bro.
This is. You know what, baby? Let's lighten it up a little bit. Huh?
Yeah. Okay.
You know what? Like, you got an insight into John and Tegan as characters there, but let's get back to the classic. I think I know what time it is, baby.
A movie review of the week. Ow!
So we just saw a funny little movie called
Babylon.
Fourth feature film from writer-director Damien Chazelle, known for such films as La La Land, Whiplash, and First Man. Baby, what did you think of Babylon?
It was too long.
Yes, I agree. We were literally talking about this like when we woke up this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I have very, very mixed, complex feelings about this movie. When we walked in, for the first 20 to 30 minutes, I was thinking to myself, this is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
I was like, we use this app called Letterboxd, where you rate movies out of 5, and I remember thinking to myself, this is a 4.5, easy.
Me too. I was literally thinking the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm. And then it kept going.
It just kept going.
They kept introducing new stuff. They kept finding new characters. The old characters kept finding new sources of conflict. And listen, I'll say what I said this morning. I like a lot of this film. A lot of it. Not even just conceptually. I think a lot of it genuinely works.
Mm-hmm.
I think calling it Babylon is brilliant. I think it fits the nature of the film very well with the rise and the fall. And you know, Babylon was known for these large parties where everywhere you look there's something going on. And I think the pace of the film fits that very well. But I think at some point it becomes a little too much.
Mm-hmm. Are you sure you're not too far from the camera?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think why? Because it's just, you know.
So you're sitting back.
Huh? Oh, we have it up until like right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah. We were talking about how it was almost too much good. There was almost just too much shit. I think this film was a little lacking in terms of focus. And I think had they cut like an hour out of it, and this is the tough part, had they cut out a couple characters, I think the film would have worked a lot better.
And I was even saying to John, like, the 2 characters I think they should have cut were fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like,
performance-wise, writing-wise.
The acting was so good. Every single actor in that movie, like,
Fantastic.
fucking killed it.
Fantastic.
Especially Brad Pitt.
Yeah, he was great. He was great.
And Margot Robbie, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was saying, like, I want to get her name right.
Yeah, look it up.
Yeah. But the sexy lady, I don't really know what she
You
was
know
like.
the one.
You know the sexy lady.
You know the one.
Come on now.
Here, hold on. She's getting it up.
Come on now. Where the F is she?
What was her name? Her character name?
Lady Fei Zhu.
Yeah.
I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. She
I'm
was
Chinese,
named Fei.
It's fine.
I'm not.
I'll give you the card. It's fine. You're good.
I don't think you can do that.
I can. Well, I can give you 12% of the card.
That's not good enough for either of us.
Huh?
Okay.
I can make as many funny
Lady
jokes.
Faye, like, I would love to see her, like, in her own thing. Like, even if, like, that character, like, had her own thing. I'm not saying a spinoff. I don't want a spinoff. I don't want a second movie.
No,
but
I think I've seen enough.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, but she was really good.
Yeah. No, she was great.
And the guy that played Sydney was also very good.
Sydney was fantastic.
I just think they should have cut those 2 characters and the writing lady.
Yeah, the journalist who's, like, going around interviewing people in the film.
I think her name was, like, Eleanor, like,
yeah.
something.
I think it was Eleanor. But it was just too much. It was too fucking
many
much.
Characters. If they would have kept it to Nelly, Manuel, and
keep in mind, baby, some people might not have seen the film. You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay, so Margot Robbie's character,
yeah,
the other dude,
yeah,
his name is Manuel in the movie,
and like main guy,
and Brad Pitt.
Yes,
They would have kept it to like those 3 characters and would have cut out the other 3 characters.
Yeah.
it would have been a lot better. It was just really unfocused.
I
as you were
agree.
saying.
I agree. I think the pace was really fast. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of phenomenal scenes. The characters all work off each other fantastically.
Oh, yeah.
The acting, like we were saying, is really, really good. It was just a little much. This movie is 3 hours and 9 minutes, and there's this. Okay, this isn't even really a spoiler, so I don't feel the need to. But there's a montage near the end of the film.
Yeah.
Where, and by this point, it's like this is like 5 minutes before the end of the movie, right? So I'm just yearning for it to end, because I liked it a lot, but it's just, it by this point it's just kind of lost me. There's too much going on, and it's not strung together well enough. But there's this montage where they show like the progression of films over time. Like they show silent films that were really impressive at the time. Then they show like talkies that were really impressive. And then they show like The Wizard of Oz. And then eventually it gets to the point where there's like a clip of Avatar. And I'm just like, dude, oh my God, this is nonsense.
Oh, and then there's just a bunch of like flashing colors
And like scenes from the film. And like, okay, it's not like we don't get it. We get the point, right? Is that like, oh, movies are amazing and inspiring and bring people together. And I agree. I love movies are probably like the greatest, the art form I love the greatest. Yeah. But holy shit, man. Holy shit. And by that point, it's like, guy, like you've made that point again and again and again. And I think part of the problem too is that I'm a huge fan of Damien Chazelle's other films. I think they are all bang in their own way and for different reasons. And something I can credit to each of these films that come before is that sense of focus. They know exactly. Oh, you might want to sit up, baby. I'm not sure. No, I think we're good, actually. Well, I'll take a look after this, because this is the first episode. We're sorry about all the back and forth. This is the first episode we've recorded like this, so we're just kind of figuring out like what space we get. But anyway, all of his other films had a real sense of direction, of like specific direction and focus. And I get, right, Babylon. It's big. It's lavish. There's a lot going on. The lack of focus is the point. Right, I understand, but it just didn't click. It just wasn't for me. I just didn't love it. I saw someone on Letterboxd say they thought Damien Chazelle is going to get a Best Director at the Oscars for this. I could not disagree more. I'm sorry. I liked it a lot. This film is too sloppy. It's a little too all over the place and not in the right way.
Yeah, I think it needed just a little bit more focused.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think we explained that the like basic plot.
Yeah.
It takes place in like the 1920s, and it's about like the movies.
It's
like
about
the film industry.
I would say it's about the transition between the silent era of film to the talking era of film, but then even beyond that. And I will say, as someone who loves movies, there were several moments that like did get me. Like there's this scene near the end where it's like it pans down and just shows like this packed theater, like an audience full, and it's a bunch. Some people are watching the film, some people look a little disinterested. There's this couple that's making out. There's one dude that's asleep, and I really loved that because that's just like movie culture type of stuff. You know, all the movie culture type of stuff I loved in this film. The acting was great. The music was good. It was the score was a little too similar to La La Land for my takes. Or there's this one specific track at least that plays like multiple times in the film, and it sounds exactly like something out of La La Land. Like literally, I played it for Tegan earlier today, and she was like, "Oh my God, it like totally does."
Yeah.
But we've spent a lot of this talking about negatives, but I'd recommend it.
I'm going to rewatch it.
Yeah, same. I would definitely recommend. Please don't take all these criticisms in the wrong way. The reason I'm criticizing it so greatly is because I think the director is so talented.
Oh, yeah.
And I think his work is worthy of being looked at from such an intense scrutiny.
Yeah. It was I was entertained.
Yeah. I loved it. I thought it was great. Just not not like La La Land great.
No,
not Whiplash great.
I haven't seen
Right, but you'll see what I mean.
Whiplash or First Man.
Yeah. But those were I don't know. I think focus. I feel as though this film could have used a little more focus, but I was not bored. I enjoyed the ride. I would recommend it.
I feel like it's one of the like best newer movies we've seen.
Yeah, definitely.
Like in the past few months.
Definitely.
So
yeah,
there's that.
Yeah.
It was just I genuinely think if it was 3 hours and 9 minutes, I think, and I know this is a lot to cut out,
Right.
but I think if they cut it down to 2 hours,
yeah,
it would have been great.
or maybe 2 hours a night. If they just cut out that last, if they'd found, it's too much. It's too much. I feel like a lot more of this should have been left on the cutting room floor. And I get it when the performances are this good, the chemistry is this good, the sparks between these characters are flying, right? So I get as a director looking at these performances and going, I want these people in my film, right? But at some point, you have to question what's the best for the film. And I think what would have been best for the film is if they just cut out a little bit more. But I would recommend it. If you liked his other films, I think you'll probably like this one. Baby, would you recommend it?
I would recommend it for sure. Because as I said, I'm going to
agree.
rewatch it. And I don't say that about many movies.
No.
Even ones that I liked.
I agree. Yeah.
I'm going to rewatch it when it comes out on, I feel like it's going to end up on HBO Max.
That feels fitting for some reason.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
although some movies I'm like,
it kind of depends on like what studio.
Yeah. No, for sure.
But either way. Guys, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
For yet another episode of Awesometown. Why don't you pop into the old saloon and get yourself a little drink, wet that whistle, huh? Thanks for joining us. And we'll catch you next time.